talk about two specific things. You may have other questions. First, today is the funeral for Sebastian Garena, a 7-year-old student at Andrew Jackson Elementary School, which, as everyone knows, he passed away last week tragically, much too young. I did spend some time last evening with his mother and father. Went to the viewing at the funeral home, and just again, as a parent, there can be virtually no worse feeling than to see a young person in a coffin, life cut short. We'll never know his true potential. But as I said and promised to his mother last night, Sebastian's memory will stay with us, that we will certainly take a variety of different steps and measures to try to help ensure the health of young people here in the city, things that we know, things that we don't know, work with our medical community on trying to, better diagnose to the extent that we can young people that may have unforeseen medical conditions, and obviously other steps that we can take with regard to the school environment. And I won't go into those kinds of details at the moment. But may Sebastian's soul rest in peace. May his memory never leave us and be an inspiration to all those who care about children. Second, we as a nation experienced the loss of America's poet, Maya Angelou. I've been a fan and admirer of hers for a long period of time. I think she has left an indelible mark on American society, and whether you are a poetry fan or a particular admirer of African American literature, I think Maya Angelou many years ago crossed the Rubicon of literature and cross-cultural experience. I think she spoke to so many different people through poems, Why the Caged Bird Sings, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Still I Rise, and I still have very much seared in my own personal memory listening to her recite On the Pulse of Morning, the day of the inauguration for President Bill Clinton. I was at that inaugural and was quite moved by her presence and by her presentation. I did have one occasion in my life a few years ago to actually meet her, which was particularly special to me. But America's poet may not personally be with us, but certainly her words and her literature and her presence as a powerful figure, I think will never leave America and the world. And
that was
so
the
we're
Marian Anderson Award, right? Tell us
saddened,
about that.
yeah, saddened at her passing. She's just a great woman, but also, at least for me, in a different kind of way. I mean, a very powerful black woman, and she was serious about her work, took her presence and involvement in things seriously, and I think was just a great figure and role model to so many. She was, in fact, the inspiration for me to start thinking about the city having a poet laureate, and I give her that credit. And of course, as you know, we have a poet laureate. Our first was named not too long ago, and we now have a second. So these are tough and challenging times. It's the roller coaster of emotion, whether it's about a 7-year-old or, you know, a much more senior person. Both lives have touched many of us in different ways.
You presented the very end of the award, though, I think it was '08, correct?
I think, yeah, around about that time. Memory is.
Talk to her much that evening, did you have a chance?
I got a few moments to chat with her. You know, that's the kind of thing where you know you don't want to take up someone's time too much, and obviously a lot of people want to talk to her. But I did get some moments with her, and they were just special. Things that you remember and that never, you know, kind of go away from you when you meet someone who's just a great person and also a great artist. So one, of course, she was deserving, but she's done so much for so many people, and you know, I think there'll be a whole new wave, if you will, of Maya Angelou fans, and young people obviously can Google her and look up her poetry, and hopefully in schools all across America, folks will take a moment to reflect and read some of that great poetry.
Mayor, regarding the decision to withdraw from potential bidding for the 2024 Olympics, your letter to the USOC didn't really clarify the specific reasons that got you to this point. What are they?
Well, I think as, if I'm recalling the letter, we talked about the year-long or so process that we've been engaged with the U.S. Olympic Committee. We've had a number of meetings, personal sessions, in-depth conversations. I've participated in a number of those. Some USOC folks were here, I think about a month or so ago, and we had a full presentation. You know, we've utilized the feasibility study from a few years ago when the city was a potential, was a contender for the 2016 Olympics, and talked to a bunch of folks locally, regionally, nationally. When I was in the UK back in November, part of that trip, I spent some time with the London officials who were the successful bidders at that time, saw the site, toured the site, actually had discussions with Tony Blair and others when we were in London. But when you add it all up, for a number of things that we're doing right now, including, of course, preparing for the World Meeting of Families and all that's involved in that, other potential big events in the future in the city, we collectively, with our stakeholders and advisors, made the decision that at this time, for the time, the effort, the fundraising prospect of creating new venues, as you well know, any city that is a bidder, let alone a winner of a bid, always have to build and build and build additional facilities. I don't think there's ever been a city, maybe other than Rome, back in ancient times, that had everything that was necessary to put on the Olympics, and it is a tremendously costly endeavor. And so for where we are right now and for the things that we can see going forward, we decided that at this time we would not put in or submit a bid. I do believe, as the release said, and as even David L. Cohen said, I do believe the city of Philadelphia in the future should be, will be, a bidding city, and I think ultimately a successful winning bidder for a future Olympics. But, you know, the schedule is a fairly long lead time. We were talking about the 2024 Olympics. This is 2014. So you see what kind of lead time you need to get ready for that kind of process. And I just thought at this stage that we should not submit a bid. I am hopeful, and we have already pledged to the U.S. Olympic Committee, because they have to decide even first whether the United States will put forward a bid. But I have fully committed to them that if the USOC puts in a bid for the United States of America, for whatever city, to be a host city for the 2024 Olympics, they will certainly have our full support.
Mayor, you mentioned cost. Do you have any idea of hosting an event of the Olympics magnitude would cost the city?
Well, I think the short answer, and I'm not being flip, I mean, it's a lot. It is millions and millions and millions of dollars. Again, as I said, any city that's ever hosted Olympics, multiple facilities literally had to be built. In many instances, they are only for the Olympics. In some cases, some of those facilities remain. But, I mean, you have to build an Olympic village for people to live. You have to build Olympic scale facilities for, swimming or, track or, whatever you don't have enough of. And again, in many instances, those facilities go away. And so when you look at, for instance, when we toured the London site, London, quite frankly, and I give a lot of credit again to Prime Minister Tony Blair and Mayor Johnson at the time, utilized it to literally revitalize an area that was, completely in a deteriorated fashion. And the Olympics became part of the economic package to revitalize a part of the community. So they had really two things going on in London. They wanted to host the Olympics, but they also knew that millions of dollars would come in to revitalize a particular area of London. And so they had a twofold purpose. And I mean, it's a great strategy, and you may or may not be able to do the same thing in Philadelphia, but it is millions and millions of dollars, probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars, to host such an enterprise. You see what's going on in Brazil. Right now, they have obviously the Olympics and a World Cup coming, and I think those numbers are in the billions in terms of infrastructure improvements that need to be made.
Have you spoken to Congressman Brady about this? About the decision?
About this particular issue?
Yeah.
We've not talked about this one, and I don't know that we've had much conversation about the Olympics in recent times. But no, I mean, there's a fairly large group of stakeholders that we've been talking to. We did not talk about this one.
And how about the bid for the 2016 Democratic National Convention?
Right. So the deadline for that is coming up. We're well aware of the calendar and have accumulated a significant amount of information and due diligence through that process. And when we have something to say about that, I'll be in a position to say something about that. But we're still putting materials together related to that, and we've been very, very diligent in that process. Thank you all. Thanks.